Beneath the gentle, rolling hills of West Wycombe, England, lies a secret that has whispered through centuries. It's a labyrinth of chalk tunnels, a place where darkness is so absolute that it feels like it swallows sound itself. And it was here, in the flickering, uncertain light of candles, that one of the 18th century's most scandalous and controversial societies held its secret meetings. Welcome to the Hellfire Caves. The caves were the brainchild of Sir Francis Dashwood, a man who was equal parts eccentric aristocrat, powerful politician, and rebellious thinker. Fascinated by classical mythology, political defiance, and the pursuit of pleasure, he decided to carve his own underground temple of secrecy right beneath his estate. Starting in the 1740s, local villagers and miners were paid to dig. For years, they chiseled away at the chalk, creating a network that stretched for nearly a quarter of a mile. This wasn't just a random series of tunnels, it was a carefully designed underworld. Dashwood named the chambers after mythical realms: the river Styx, the Inferno, and at its heart, the Inner Temple. Each one was carved with theatrical precision, designed for both elaborate ceremony and dramatic effect. Imagine descending into this world. The air, thick with candle smoke, and the damp, mineral scent of the chalk walls. Torches would flicker, casting long, dancing shadows. The glint of moisture on the rock would catch the light, and through it all, the echoing voices of some of the most influential men in England: noblemen, poets, and powerful politicians. Their words, a strange mix of Latin and a mocking parody of religious rites. They would raise their glasses, toasting to Bacchus, the god of wine, and Venus, the goddess of love, in equal measure. Officially, this group called themselves the Brotherhood of St. Francis of Wycombe. Publicly, they claimed their activities were nothing more than a satire, a parody of the lavish and hypocritical lifestyles of monastic orders. But privately, in the deep, soundless dark of the caves, the line between satire and genuine sacrilege became dangerously blurred. The membership list was a who's who of 18th century Britain. We're talking about figures like the famous painter and satirist William Hogarth, and even the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Lord Sandwich, the very man who helped shape the nation's finances by day, only to disappear into the earth to perform irreverent masks by night. Above ground, the local villagers' imaginations ran wild. They whispered stories of black masses, of devil worship, and infernal rituals. But the truth, as it so often is, was far more complex and interesting. The surviving accounts don't point to devil worship, but to a potent cocktail of Enlightenment philosophy and libertine indulgence. It was as much a protest against the hypocrisy they saw in the church and the crown as it was a pursuit of forbidden pleasures. Dashwood's personal motto, which became the club's creed, was Fais ce que voudras, do what thou wilt. He borrowed it from the French satirist Rabelais. It was a declaration of freedom, a radical idea that virtue and sin were not divine commands, but constructs of power. This motto would later be picked up by occult circles, who often missed the original irony and took it as literal doctrine. When guests arrived for a meeting, they would descend from the sunlit world above, often wearing masks and carrying wine. It was a symbolic journey into the underworld, a place designed to strip away the rigid social pretenses of the time. Torchlight would dance across faces, perhaps painted with soot, as laughter turned to chanting. They would sing hymns, but rewritten to praise Venus instead of the Virgin Mary. In that echoing darkness, the thin boundary between theater and blasphemy simply dissolved. But this was more than just a game. The parody held real danger. England in the 1750s was a nation walking a tightrope between faith and revolution. A mere rumor of satanic rituals could utterly destroy a statesman's career, and the rumors were vicious. Pamphlets flew around London, accusing the Hellfire Club of human sacrifice. Political cartoonists depicted Dashwood offering the Prime Minister himself to demons. So what does the evidence say? Modern excavations have found the altars carved directly into the rock, but there's no evidence of sacrifice. What archaeologists have found are scorched sconces where torches burned, broken wine chalices, fragments of clay pipes, and empty bottles bearing the seals of expensive, imported wines. They've dated the layers of soot on the walls, and they match perfectly with the years the club was active. Historians have even uncovered invitations written in complex ciphers, blending Maythach politics and a sharp, ironic wit into a unique form of 18th century rebellion. The legend was fueled by strange coincidences. Above the cave stands St. Lawrence's Church, which Dashwood rebuilt. He topped its tower with a massive, hollow golden sphere. Locals could see it for miles. But what they didn't know was that its dimensions were identical to the inner temple, the most sacred chamber hidden deep in the earth below. This perfect mirroring of heaven and hell fed the legend that the estate was consecrated to both God and his adversary. When lightning once struck the golden ball on the church tower, villagers were certain the devil had come to claim his due. After Dashwood's death, the tunnels fell silent. The entrances became overgrown with ivy, and the laughter and chants faded into memory. But curiosity is a persistent thing. By the late 1700s, the first tourists were paying coins to walk through England's most infamous underworld. During the Victorian era, the story of the Hellfire Caves was twisted into a moral fable, a cautionary tale told to frighten young people away from a life of excess. Today, historians are still sifting through archives, trying to separate the terrifying myths from the fascinating facts. The club's official minutes have vanished, and the membership lists are incomplete. But we do have letters between Dashwood and a very surprising guest. Benjamin Franklin? Yes, that Benjamin Franklin. The American founding father visited West Wycombe, admired the incredible engineering of the caves, and left before nightfall. His complete silence on the matter afterward has only fueled the myth more than any sermon ever could. The tunnels are open to visitors now. The flickering torches have been replaced by electric lamps, but the atmosphere remains. There's still a faint, metallic taste of secrecy in the air. Some psychologists see the caves as a fascinating early experiment in place where powerful men could explore the human impulse to break taboos in a controlled, hidden environment, tasting forbidden freedom before returning to the ordered world above. What the public feared as satanic was, perhaps, just the Enlightenment's shadow side. Men of logic and reason testing their own limits, playing with damnation to prove they were immune to it. But for every skeptic who sees only history and psychology, there's a witness who swears the caves are not entirely quiet. Tour guides tell stories of sudden, inexplicable drops in temperature of candle flames that bend as if touched by an invisible draft, and of the unnerving sound of footsteps that seem to follow the last group out at the end of the day. In the deep silence after closing hours, some say the tunnels seem to hum with a faint, residual energy, as if the chalk itself remembers. Remembering the laughter and the blasphemy, the toasts and the secrets, the profound questions shouted into a darkness that no creed could ever fully answer. Whether the Hellfire Club truly summoned devils or simply summoned a reflection of their own desires, the echo they left behind is unmistakable. It's a powerful reminder that, even in an age of reason and enlightenment, the human heart still hungers for ritual, for secrecy, and for the dangerous, timeless thrill of standing just a little too close to the fire. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the darkness. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you and miss our next exploration into the forgotten corners of history. See you next time.